All right, and we are back. So, I just got done charging, if you will, the mash tun. It's been sitting for a while, so I put in some boiling water to kind of warm up the insides there so they're not too chill. I've added 3.5 gallons of hot water, 166 degree water. There's a number of different types of software out there that can help you calculate your mash and sparge temperatures as well as your volumes. Generally, it's going to be 4 quarts for every pound of grain that you use. It's a good marker. I mean that can change depending on the style of beer you're doing, but 4 quarts for every pound is about right. And that'll give you a good grist consistency. So what I'm going to do here, we have our grain, which is smelling really, really great. Yes, it's really good. So I'm going to add that to our mash tun. It's at about 78 degrees, so once the grain goes into the mash tun, I'm hoping that we're going to get a nice temperature of about 156, I think. Something like that, which is a good mash temp. Max is about 158, I think. Once you get past that, you're going to start breaking down some tannins and starches that you don't want in your beer. But for conversion, for SAC conversion, about 156, a little on the hot side, but it should be fine. I've got about 2 degrees per hour heat loss on this particular setup, and I'm particularly excited because I haven't calculated my mash efficiency yet. But I'm going to do that, and I'll tell you exactly how I'm going to do that. Again, that's more software that you can easily find online for free. I mean, there's a lot of apps and whatnot you can get that will help you with those calculations. But you can always find that information for free. This is a handy little tool I picked up actually from Whole Foods when they had their their home brewing department. This is a mash rake. This is a plastic one. I'd love to get a wooden one, but plastic one works just fine. It's got these little slots to help the grain kind of move through, and it's great for breaking up dough balls, which you do not want in your mash, because that'll keep. You'll have weird dry spots, and you won't have a full conversion of all your grain. This is a good one. I actually, if you can see that, I marked it. You can see all the way from like 1 gallon up to 8 gallons, which is the capacity of my boil kettle here. And it's a nice way to kind of just eyeball how much water you're putting in. Right now there's about 6 2/3 gallons of water that's going to be our sparge water. That's going to heat up to about 178, I think. I'll have to double check on that, but that should be about right. We've got our pumpkin meat here. Got about 4 pounds out of that, a little more, about 4.5 pounds from an 8-pound pumpkin, which quite a bit. That's actually quite a bit of loss, but that's totally fine. This is an optional step you don't have to take. And this is a very important tool as well. Seems like just kind of an odd sort of low-tech deal, but I always like to keep records of everything that's going on. Actually, I was just looking at my last batch, and that's how I remembered that I had a 2-degree hourly temp loss and that sort of thing. So it's good to keep a record of everything you're doing. I'm going to record my mash efficiency in that, so I have that for future use, and that's an important number to know in case you need to adjust your grain bill. If you're wanting to get, you don't want to come up with 4 gallons as opposed to 5 gallons. We always want more beer and not less. So I'm going to add that to our mash tun, and I'll let you take a look at that because it's really, really lovely when that gets going. And and we'll get back here in just a second. I think that's about it. All right, see you in a few minutes. All right. Well, this is something very interesting that you'll have to remember when you are brewing. Sometimes you just kind of have to improvise sometimes. And something I didn't really account for, the damn pumpkin meat, which I had cooked last night and then set out, of course, was cold. So I put cold pumpkin meat in my mash tun. I really didn't have much choice. I had already started the mash and added the grain and water. So once that starts, the conversion has begun. So I put it in there. We're going to check the temperature here. I did put water kind of more on the hot side. So I think the temperature loss is going to be kind of small, but just in case, I've got just a tea kettle here going with some water, and that's how I'm going to adjust my temperature if we are in fact below 152 degrees is probably about the basement of a malt conversion. But I can't freaking believe I did that. The recipe actually called for me to bake it and then let it cool to 154. But I stayed up really late last night cooking it, so I whatever, screwed up. But that's okay. It's not a difficult fix. Just got to add a little bit of hot water until you get right to your temperature. We definitely don't want our mash to be too cold. We want all the sugar that we can, so our yeast are very happy with that. So I'll let you know how that goes in just a sec. All right.